recording. Welcome. We're going to talk about Zotero tonight. My name is Ryan Gaylor, and I'm a distance learning librarian for University of St. Augustine. And we're going to dive into Zotero tonight, which is a wonderful um, alternative to the EndNote X8, which is um, a fine tool in itself, but Zotero sort of differs a little bit. A lot of people, faculty and students, tend to like Zotero a lot. Uh, Quite a few people think that it's really user friendly and intuitive. I like it a lot personally, but I don't really push either one. It's up to you, and it's up to your needs as well. So, but anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick demo for it tonight. Again, if you have any questions, chime in, or if not, you can always put the question there in the chat, and when we're done, I can cover it for you. So let's go ahead and get started. So our agenda for tonight is just to talk about Zotero, go over the setup, the your library collection. That's what it's called. Your um, article collection in your Zotero program, really, and how your articles are stored and things like that. Of course, going to talk about the Write and Cite tool, which is a very uh, important tool to use when you're uh, writing research papers or or you need some citation help. That also helps out there as well. And then we'll go over some of the minor major stuff. I guess I would say major as far as syncing goes, syncing together your online account um, with your desktop application. Very important, but it's very simple to do. As well as some of the places where you can get help with Zotero. So let's go to what is Zotero. Zotero is a free citation software tool that allows you to collect and organize references and to easily create sort of standard format citations and reference lists and things like that. A lot of people say that it's very convenient. It also integrates with your web browser, which is very helpful, and I will show you that. I use Google Chrome, but but the web browser Zotero extension works for Safari as well as Firefox, and of course Google Chrome. So take your pick whenever you're downloading the program. Yeah, it's you can easily download a citation information from the web, and it will automatically generate in-text citations and reference lists within your Microsoft Word document. And as of recently, I have noticed that Zotero also integrates itself now in Google Docs, which is pretty neat. It's kind of a new feature that honestly I don't really know how long it's been there. I'm sort of embarrassed to admit that because this is sort of my field. I was working with a Google Doc a couple months ago actually, and realized that the add-in for creating citations and reference lists, it also pops up in um, um, Google Documents, which is extraordinarily convenient if you're sharing documents or something like that. So Yeah, it's a little fun fact that just kind of came across. Zotero is great because it's very web friendly as well. It's easily store web pages, audio, video files. It's great with PDFs, images, um, and sort of and various files alongside with mainstream resources in your Zotero library. It's very simple to install, and like I said before, it comes with a browser extension. I'd say tonight I'm not exactly going to demonstrate how to download it because I already have it on my computer, but I can show you where to actually make that happen. So, yeah, so we'll go there shortly. So talking about the setup, the free download for Zotero, I'll go right to that in just a minute. I was going to share my screen shortly, just to show you the program and to show you the general setup of your Zotero desktop application along with your online account as well. Uh, the Zotero is compatible with Windows, with any machine that's running Windows, Mac, Mac Catalina, which was the most recent update to the OS. I think it started in the fall, and it brought a lot of trouble to a lot of University of St. Augustine post-professional students because Max Catalina operating system is not compatible with EndNote X8. So I have had to advise a lot of students to move to Zotero just because of this. So it is compatible with also with computers that run Linux as well. I don't know if people really still use that, but I threw that in there just in case. Again, the browser extension is vital to your searching. It's probably one of the best features about using Zotero. Again, it's very web friendly, and I'll kind of demonstrate that as we go along. You must, well, I would say that you don't really necessarily have to, but I encourage folks to create um, one of the online account or to create an online account, just because, of course, you may not be at your machine. Maybe let's say that you're out of town. Um, you don't have access to your desktop or your laptop for some reason, and you like to research articles. Basically, all you have to do is create an online account, and then temporarily download the browser extension to a browser, and then do some research that way. And then, of course, it's very important thereafter that as soon as you get back um, to your home computer, to definitely sync those accounts together, because otherwise you will open up your desktop application and say, wow, what happened to all of the articles that I found with my online account? And then how do I get them from my online account to my desktop application? And that's where the old syncing comes into play, and I will tell you about that too. And so really the first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to show you how to build your library. Well, that's kind of the second thing. The first thing is I'm going to show you where you can go and download Zotero and get that out of the way. And then we'll start doing a sort of quick demo with the program. So let's go to the next slide. All right, let's go take a look. Let me go ahead and stop for a second. If anybody's got any questions, this is my little stopping point, just right before I start sharing my desktop. So if you have any questions, go ahead and fire away while I'm switching gears. So 1 second. So you should be looking at the library website. If you could, for me real quick, could you raise hands really quick just to make sure that you're seeing that on your end, please? If you're still there. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Uh, so, uh, so yeah, you should be seeing the library website right now. But I'm going to go to the Zotero tab. This is your link to Zotero. I'm going to put it in the chat just for just in case you can't see it on the computer. That's it right there. Takes you right to Zotero.org. It's fairly simple, and it's, as I said, it's free to use. It's very helpful. Just go directly to the download button that's right there in the middle of the screen, and then it will automatically identify um, what version that you need to download. I'm on a Windows computer, so it pops up and says, "Hey, this is the download for your Windows computer. If you're using Mac, you're using Linux, it will also pop up there too. Most recent edition is the 5.0, but I believe you can still do the different versions. Yeah, I actually just updated mine very recently. The Zotero browser connector is right over here. Again, it knows that I'm using Google Chrome, so the Google button pops up there, and it gives me basically like a fast track just to download, or excuse me, it gives me like a fast track to install the application, or to um, um, install the browser extension. It works the same if you have some of the other browsers that are out there. Like if you click on Zotero connector for your browser, you have the different options as I mentioned before for Firefox and for Safari as well. So I will show you the important pieces of having the online account, which I totally uh, suggest that you sign up for. It's quick. It's really easy to do, um, and it's got some wonderful features. So I'm just going to go ahead and log into my account. I've already got one set up. So you'd usually just go to register for free account, and then set up a username, password, and stuff like that, and then log in to Zotero, and it's probably going to show up like this. But if you want to view your account, you just click on the this little spot that's linked, and it'll show you options to edit your profile, as well as where you can go directly to your EndNote library. So your EndNote library for your online account is very simple. It's there isn't a lot of bells and whistles to it. You have various tools to use if you choose. Like there's a groups option that you can use. For more information about that, of course, Zotero has a lot of training videos for things like that. Um, but with the groups option, if you want to create one of those, it's basically just so you can collaborate with project members, and set up shareable um, bibliographies that you can share either with your class, or your coworkers or something like that. That's an option that you can do. There's a slight social media a sort of component to Zotero, and if you click on some of the links that are available here, it'll give you a little bit more of an understanding about that. As you can tell, I don't follow anyone, and nobody follows me, but but your followers would be people that are allowed to view your library, and you can share those with you as well. Documentation. This is very helpful and very useful to use. The documentation gives you basically all of the little strange bits about Zotero. Everything from the quick links up here, which take you to the installation process if you have trouble with that. This is in best terms would be kind of like an FAQ page, really. It's searchable too, which is always really helpful. So yeah, you have your quick links, which will take you to the installation. You have one that takes you a quick start guide, which I suggest using if you're having trouble, um, or if you're just getting set up with the tool. Can be very helpful. Frequently asked questions. You have using Zotero about adding items, adding files, creating news feeds, things like that, generating bibliographies, reports. This is a really great place to come if you have any questions. The forum is kind of built off um, um, of the documents section. This is usually when people write in um, with specific questions for the developers, and as you see, there's different questions that are on the board now. The ones here in yellow are the ones that have been asked pretty much. It appears to be within the last 20, 24, 48 hours. And so this is a good place to come as far as, and it's also searchable, which is always helpful. And this is a good place to come if you're looking for maybe a really difficult question. You'd be surprised if you're experiencing trouble. Most likely, someone uh, in this forum has had the exact same problem, and one of the Zotero developers has helped them. So yeah, very great tool to use. But let me go back to your library. So yes, your online library. Of course, this is for you to use as kind of like a backup library for one, and to if you're not on your home machine. So let's go to what Zotero is like once you've downloaded it to your computer. So I'm going to open the window, basically of what it looks like when you open it for the first time. This is exactly what it looks like. I don't know if any of you all have used EndNote, but the setup when you first open the program looks a little different. And I would say it's kind of interesting because you're not really expecting that you're going to have to go and create your own library using the EndNote X8, because with Zotero, it's sort of designed for you to just basically sit down and then start adding articles. Um, uh, and this is anticipation. If you've already downloaded the um, Zotero browser connector, which you can see here in the corner. I think you can see that on your screen. I don't know. You may need to increase it. It's kind of small in my browser. I wonder if I can make this a little bit larger so you can see. I think it's just going to make the inside the window larger, but you'll see it looks like a piece of paper that's right up here at the top, and that is your Zotero browser connector, and it's in the web page mode right now. And you'll notice um, as we search for items that it changes. That right now it's in its web page mode, but we may, let's say, open up a fresh browser and just see the Z there, just because this is a search page, so it's not really necessarily going to grab any information from this. However, if I go to, and I'll show you just in a few minutes, when I go to a journal, to an academic journal, or if I go to a video or something like that, this will change as well. But this is really one of the most important things about the presentation, is to make sure, of course, you download the desktop application. But the Zotero browser extension is the key to all of this, really. It's very helpful to use, and I will go ahead and start kind of showing you how to use it. Like I said, it's fairly easy to use, so I'm just going to do go to Search USA, or up at the top, and do just a quick search for, I'll do yoga therapy, chronic back pain, as my search, just some search terms to get us started. I'm going to click search, and then once it does a search for my keywords, I want to make sure I'm logged in. I'm pretty sure I am. Oh, never mind. I guess I'm not. Okay. And we're in. Yeah. So when this, so when the search comes up, you will see that it changed. You see, I don't know if you can see at the top, it looks like a file folder, and it's doing that because one of the things that can occur when you're using Zotero is that, let's say that you did this search, and all of these entries that you that you see as you scroll down for the, for the various articles that popped up with this search, let's say that these look pretty good to you and you're interested in maybe bringing them over to your library. With the file folder option, and this also works too, I think currently I've had to work with a few students that are taking Dr. Garvin's course right now. I think it's 7230 or something like that, as well as um, some of the students that are in IPE 7050 as well. One of the tasks that they have to complete is that they have to do a prisma diagram, um, where they have to track their searches, of course, and then subsequently pull over some of their searches, just to determine whether duplicates show up in their database searching. So Search USA isn't a database, of course. It's a search engine which searches databases. But let's say that we're using Search USA for that type of thing, where we want to bring over, let's say, some of our search, maybe the first 50 articles over. We can easily do that. We can just simply go to the file folder guy up here, click on that, and it gives us the option to bring over the 50 articles that you wanted. I'm not really going to do that tonight so much, but I'm letting you know that that is a possibility, that you can do a select all and then click OK, and it will immediately start to add those to your Zotero library that's here. I am going to, of course, add one or two from this, but I just wanted to point that out first, that Zotero is a great tool for things like, duplicates, and to to identify those in your searches. But instead of doing all of those tonight, I'm going to deselect all, and I'm just going to pick an article from the selection we have here. I'll go with this one. Yoga therapy helps relieve chronic lower back pain, which is exactly what we were looking for, really. That's surprising. So let's go, we'll click on that. And you'll notice once I click on it, this changed again. It changed to, it looks like a kind of like an article, sort of, I guess you could say. It's very, so yeah, you can see a little bit of a difference as you go from resource to resource. So let's go ahead and say, okay, this is a article that I want to use, and I want to add it to my Zotero library. So all I do is I say, okay, this looks pretty good. I want to use this one. I'll go up here to my browser extension. It's up here at the top, and I'll click on it once. And then it'll tell me that it's saving this article. It's extracting the article's information, and it's taking it into my library. And I'm going to open up my Zotero application, and it's there. It's there waiting for me. Now, you'll notice as you look over here to the, it's called the, it's the, it's called by Zotero the right panel. This is of course the left panel, center, and the right panel. That there's a few things missing, but of course when you look at the citation itself, of course we don't have a. This is the information that it pulled over really. Um, yeah, so this is what it pulled over, and it looks like there isn't a author to this one, but what it did do is it brought over that information. If you do happen to find out that the article has an author, of course, you can actually enter that by just clicking on that entry and say, let's say I wrote it, for instance. Plug in the last name, plug in the first name, Ryan, and then you're good to go. And if you want to add for your own benefit, if you wanted to add maybe like a short um, bit about the article, you can also do that as well. I'll show you just in a few minutes with a little bit more of a substantial um, article that it will fill up all of these fields here for you. But just to know that these are these can be edited, which is helpful. So it's identified the type of item it is as well, and it is a journal item. So that's helpful. Next thing it also did, which a lot of these do as well, is that it extracted keywords for us as well, which will aid in searching for articles. Now, seems kind of silly with only maybe 5 articles that that you may currently have in your library, but of course, as you go along in your program, you're going to be writing a lot more papers. And so don't be surprised that if this is completely filled up, and let's say that you haven't maybe created some of the folders that you can create. Like you can go over here where it's where you see that little folder option with a green plus sign. Actually, let me give you a little bit better view of it. You'll see that right here. And of course, this is a way that you can create article collections just to make sure that your items are properly organized. Again, that's one of the benefits of having a citation manager. It's not just solely for inserting citations into your paper. It's for collecting and curating your research. So I'm just going to create that folder really quick just to show you. And it's an easy process to move items to. You can just select the item and drag it over into that folder if you wanted to do that. Now it's going to be in your folder as you see right here, but I am in my current library, so it's going to show up there. Your library is a communal space, so pretty much whenever you add an article, it's going to show up there. Now you can create separate libraries too, so that is also one of the options that you can do as well. But for the most part, this is going to be your central location for where all of your items show up that you bring over. If you wanted to add your own personal work, your publications or whatever, you can do that as well. As I mentioned before, when I was talking about duplicates, this is one way to identify those. As I mentioned, let's say you enter a search that populates your library here at some point, or you create a separate way to organize that. It will, as those articles are imported in here. I think it's import. I always get those confused. Import, export sometimes, but it'll automatically go, okay, so these are duplicates, and then it will show you that there too, and it'll ask you a question like, do you want to merge these, and things like that. This is your trash folder. This is for, of course, this is the stuff that you don't want anymore, and it's simple to drag stuff over in your trash folder. You can also right-click on items and put trash, like this one right here. I can right-click it. I can add an article attachment if I wanted to. Let's say now with this option, which was really lucky for us, um, since it already since the citation contain or the article entry that we wanted to use already contained a EBSCO PDF full text, it actually went and got it for us. Some of the citation managers, the one I'm thinking of is EndNote X8, is that if you want now, it will take the citation from let's say Search USA. Um, it will put it in your library, but what it usually then wants you to do is it wants you to then download the article and then add it to your library. Now Zotero works a little differently, as that it is always looking for full text. So really great tool to have. Um, very helpful. And again, I don't know if I mentioned this, I think I did, but talking about tags, it's also really helpful, especially once you start filling up all this whole panel full of articles. So this can also be very helpful. But let's add a couple more things though. Let's go back to our results, and let's say we don't have a direct PDF. Maybe we'll have something that takes us to a journal publisher, just so we can download the article. I'll use this one as an example. I think this one works. Haven't tried it yet, but we'll see. So again, you see that it's changed to kind of resemble a published article. So this is one of the ones we want. This will also be helpful because we'll be able to see what it appears like with authors and the abstract and things like that. And let's go ahead and click it. And it looks like it didn't take us to Science Direct, but of course that's a quick fix. But it did take the entire citation or the entry over with all of the bibliographic information, ranging from the abstract to the authors, page numbers. I think the DOI I saw in here as well. There it is right there. Journal abbreviations, which is always great. And so, yeah, it brought that over. Of course, it didn't bring our article over, but that's okay. As I mentioned in EndNote, there's a way to kind of easily do that. It depends sometimes on the publisher. I've noticed some of the publishers, it easily allows you to, like when you do the actual, moving the article over, that it will go to that full text publisher and then get the full text for you. Sometimes it won't. But again, it's a quick fix. All you really have to do then is just download the article, however you choose, and then you can add it, going to like having the article, like clicking on the article it belongs to, and then I think I'm going to open this up so I can save it to my desktop so we can get to it faster. I say we get to it faster, and then it's going to take forever to find it. Oop, it looks like it already helped me out there, so that's helpful. Thank you, Zotero. So attaching it, just to keep it organized, make sure the entry is clicked on, and then you can do add attachment. That's one option to do it. You can add a link URL, or you can just add the file, which is what we're going to do. and that's going to be this one right here, and give it a moment, and then it added it there to us. So very helpful. I thought it usually kind of shows you what the article looks like, but that doesn't seem to be the case here. I could be thinking of something else. However, it's there and it's ready to go, and it's organized for you. Now, this is how you pretty much work with your Zotero library. It usually just the quick click of the browser extension and it goes right into your library. You can also do the export here. You see under tools. Um, some of the other resources we'll go to tonight, I'll show you that you can add items to your library twice. If you don't like using the browser extension and you prefer to use the export to an RIS file, which is sort of similar to how EndNote really works. It kind of works that way, where you have to download the bibliographic information and then export it into your library. But yeah, it gives you that option. Um, Note that if you want to do that, um, when you click export, it's underneath tools and search USA. It'll pop up down here and say RIS format, and then it tells you the various um, citation managers that allow this type of file to be downloaded. And then you click save, and if you have Google Chrome like I do, the download will pop up here at the bottom. You click on the down. Actually, I'll just do it for you to make it simpler. It's funny. It tells you that you can also use the connector up here, which is kind of funny. But let's just go ahead and say we just want to add it to our library the way we want it to. And so we did. We've added it twice. And with the duplicate, I didn't really mean to do this I did this kind of by accident, is that it identified immediately that these two articles are one and the same. So when you click on the article, it'll ask you if you want to merge these into one. And if you want to do that, you just click up here, merge two items, go to our library, and now it's just back to normal. So that's how to do it via Search USA. I want to try something really quick by going directly to the article in Science Direct. I think we can also get the article. We can also go to the articles page here and do it. And I think it'll extract the PDF for us. It sure did. So if that is the case, and that happens where you didn't get the PDF when you're in Search USA, you can click on the link here to take you to the publisher of the journal, and then you can use that this page as your entry. You can do that as well. See, and we have two again. So I'll go to duplicates, and it identifies them and says, okay, I think you only want one, and then it puts us back to one again. But that's also a great way to avoid having to add the citation and then go and download the article and then attach it, is to go directly to the publisher, which is an option as well. Almost forgot to mention that. So let's go back out to our results, and let's connect out to, and let's link out to two other databases that are great and vital and very important. First one is ProQuest, and then the next one is PubMed. And I'm going to do CINAHL as well. I'm going to go back to the library website, go to databases, and do CINAHL, because CINAHL is always helpful, very useful to use. Go to find all my search terms and yoga therapy. You'll notice that the interface here looks a little bit like Search USA, and it's because CINAHL is in EBSCO products, so it's going to work a little bit like Search USA here. So, but anyway, I wanted to show you what it looked like. So let's go to PubMed first. So as you can see, again, since we're on the results page, you have the little file folder that pops up, and if you want to select all of these entries, you can do that by clicking on the folder and then selecting all if you choose, or you can just go to the file right there, and then you see that it has the article icon sort of pops up there, and then there you go. Just click on it, and luckily our document is an open access document, so it immediately went and found that, and now it's sitting in our library right here with the PDF attached to it, which is great. And it has all of our bibliographic information, which is cool. And again, it's extracted keywords for us to use in case we need to search for the article at a later date. So before I forget, you can also manually add items as well. Like if it's a book or a book selection or a journal article, you can do that as well. And at the same really um, as it is a citation, um, um, has incorrect information that may pop up. It kind of works the same way. You can edit the fields just so they look proper. You can also go about doing that just from up here, file. Your mic's open. I'm going to go ahead and mute you really quick. Oh, thank you. As well as copying citations, copy bibliography, that's also available under edit view if you want to change the layout to look a little different. This is the sort of standard view that you'll see. Changing font size, and in tools, making sure that your Zotero is updated is always a very helpful thing to do. You can go do that by going to check updates here. These are also quick links to the documentation page, troubleshooting, as you can see, and the forum. This is the sync button that I was talking about when you want to sync together your online account, which we have right here, which you can see doesn't have anything in it currently, but we do have items in our desktop library that are already there. Now, for those to appear here in the online library, all we have to do is do the sync with Zotero.org, your account, and what we'll do usually with a little help, for some reason it is running really slow. My apologies. I'm going to come back to that. What would usually happen is that it's going to appear there and it's for some reason moving very slowly, but usually that does happen from time to time. But let's say that we're using our Zotero library as our main searching tool. Let's say I don't know if it's actually going to let me do this since I have Zotero on my computer, but I think it might. Let me give it a shot real quick. Close my Zotero library down, and I'm just moving along, and I want to add another article that pops up into my library that I can add to my library pretty quickly. Let's do this one. Now there's going to be a pop-up that's going to say you want to open your desktop library, which is what it wants you to do. But at this time, I'm just going to do the enable setting from the online library, and as you can see, it does pretty much the same thing as before. Let me do. There was actually a quick pop-up that came up there, and it allowed me to upload that. It's still going really, really slow. I'm sorry, guys. There we go. I think it was like a refresh issue that I had to do, but it allowed me to upload those. And so again, I don't have one of these articles in my library currently. So it's the yoga treatment for chronic non-specific lower back pain. So to have that there, I'm going to close out my online account or log out of it temporarily, and then go to my library real quick, my desktop library. And to make sure everything's kosher and that everything's all together, I can do my sync. It does an automatic sync as well. And the article popped up, which was great right there. It still has all of the bibliographic information that we needed. So last thing I'll show you as far as transferring information is ProQuest, which is kind of strange today. I was messing with it. I have ProQuest did an update a few months back, and something was very different about it this time around that I never really encountered before, and it was that Zotero is working a little differently with ProQuest now, where it only, when you're in ProQuest, it's only identifying ProQuest as a web page, which is unusual. And the difference really is that when it identifies an object or one of the pages you're on as a web page, it treats it differently. It doesn't, sometimes it extract all of the information that it could extract because it's in, kind of the web page mode, which it's only really kind of zeroing after the most important parts of a web page citation. So that would be the year the information's published, the name of the website, the article that's published on the website, and that kind of thing. Whereas with Zotero in the other tool and the other resources, it extracts a lot more information there at the same time, which is pretty cool. So for this one right here, I can do the snapshot for yoga, treat non-specific lower back pain. And I go over to my library and it shows up as a web page, and it's not giving me nearly the same information that the others were giving me. And I'm not exactly sure why it's doing that. It's just taking a basic virtual snapshot of the page itself, which is really what it does. But it wasn't extracting the information that you really normally get when you do that. Let me go to another entry because I believe that's the same one that we used earlier. Let's go to this one right here. And instead of doing that, we'll go the long way around, I like to call it, which is when we download the RIS file. Instead, remember I was just talking about that when you're in Search USA, that's one of the options you can, other than using the browser extension, is that you can go in and download the RIS file if you want to. And so we can do that. And it's going to let us know what's going to happen, and it downloads the file for us. It does a little starting download, and then in Chrome it pops up down here at the bottom, as you know, the download, which you then click on, and it'll ask you if you want to import the file, and this is going to be the file, which will show up actually in a groups folder, which is kind of annoying, but you can get rid of the groups folder and still have the article. But watch what it does. I click OK to import it into my collection, and then all of a sudden it pulls all of the information over. So I've noticed that that's one thing with ProQuest. Just recently, there could be something I'm doing wrong. I don't know. I'm still kind of looking into it. But yeah, it's kind of bizarre. But yeah, so that's there. It's very, very weird. We can just go in and delete collection and yeah. So at any rate, that's one thing to note. And last but not least, I will show you how to insert a citation into your paper using Zotero. Now, of course, just like EndNote or any of the other citation managers, when you download the program, it provides you with a add-in for Microsoft Office. And of course, for Google Scholar, from what I mentioned at the top of the hour. Zotero has the same one, and it just basically makes it convenient for you to add citations to your publication or to the papers you're working on or potential publications, as well as um, bibliographies. It will ask you, when you first do this for the first time, it will ask you the citation style that you want to use, and Zotero has quite a few to pick from that you can use. Now, the 5.0 edition, I think, is what gave us the APA 7th edition. It added that to its style, but you can go into manage styles under here, and this is sort of some of the advanced Zotero usage that I'm planning to do a webinar on. But you go out and look for additional styles that are out there. They, of course, Zotero has a lot of styles that are currently used, but maybe your professor is still using the 6th edition for the next couple of months or next couple of weeks. So you actually can go and do the additional styles and add the 6th edition, or of course, being a University of St. Augustine student, you can go to the writing centers, some of their resources that pretty much compare the differences between 6th and 7th edition. And again, just like when you're in your library and you can um, um, alter things in a citation, you can do the same thing when you're when you're editing a citation in your paper. So anyway, how you add edit a citation is pretty simple. You just go up to add edit citation up here at the top, click on it. This little bar will pop up right in front of you, and you can search for the article if you want, or search for the topic or one of the subject tags that are assigned to it. I typically like to, especially if I want to go to a specific article that I like to use, I like to go to click on the Z. There's a little drop down arrow here. If you click on the Z, it gives you the classic view of how to select citations and then insert them. I like that one better. So I just go click classic view, and then I can search for the citations I want and click on those. So I'm just going to click on this one first, and then I will click on OK. That's the next thing you do. And it gives us a in-text citation. Just pops right up there without any problems. Next thing is, what if you need the bibliography to that? Well, that's cool. Just go to add edit bibliography, and there you go. Again, sometimes things need to be altered and changed up from time to time. I'm noticing in this one, it popped up and it changed, like where you would normally in APA switch up, you would make this into sentence case. You may have to change that up, but in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of a minor problem, really. I mean, if you think about all of these citation managers that generate citations, I mean, they're doing the heavy lifting for you. So occasionally you may have to make something lowercase or italicize something. As I always tell, always tell students, these things are not always 100% correct, but you definitely, if it doesn't look right compared to other citations you've viewed or have done yourself, there's nothing wrong with either looking it up online to make sure it's correct, or just going and if you have the current edition of the book, you can do that, or go to the writing center's resources. That's also a possibility. So I'm going to edit another one just for fun. Let's do this one as our in-text citation, and then add edit bibliography, and there it goes. It gives us that right afterwards. So yeah, actually this one's weird because it actually did the sentence case for us. I wonder if the other article needs to be adjusted. Again, sometimes you can do this, like this one right here. It actually, for some reason, brought the information. I think I know why, is because we brought it over not with the uh, with the browser tool, but we rather did the RIS file, so maybe it just kind of messed up the formatting. But this is a quick fix with the title, because as you said, as I mentioned before, the title usually, if it's APA, would usually have to be lowercase. You can actually do that pretty simple by just clicking on the title, or putting your mouse over that, and then right clicking, and then saying you want to put it in sentence case. And what it'll do is it'll change it to where it is more appropriate for a citation, kind of like that one. So Anyway, that is it for the presentation for tonight. I wish there was more to it, but it's like I said, it's a great tool. It's fairly simple to use. If you have any questions, you can ask them now if you'd like. That's no trouble at all. If not, that's okay. You can also ask questions, put them in the chat for me. It doesn't matter if you feel like you just want to shoot me an email about it. That's totally cool as well. Anyway, I really appreciate you coming tonight and being patient. And we got started a little bit later because of people kind of coming in late, which I understand, especially the time. But I thank you very much for coming out tonight. I'm going to put my slides back up again for my thank you slide. And so thanks again for coming out. I really appreciate it. If you could, I'm going to add a great. I'm glad it was really helpful. Right before you go, Karen, if you could do me a huge favor, if you have the opportunity to, we do a little survey. I unfortunately was not able to get it up fast enough for some of our other people. So if you want to do the survey, you're more than welcome to. But this is just sort of course, the survey to let us know if we're doing things well. I'll go ahead and add it right here for now. I'm really glad that you had a good time and you learned something. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Yeah, thank you so much for coming out tonight, and have a wonderful night.